I feel great today. How about you, Father O'Brien?
It's going well. It's going well, thank you.
Isn't this a beautiful day to have the greatest podcast on the planet?
I don't know about that, but we welcome all of you to another edition of Pastors of Payne.
Pastors of Payne.
I'm a pastor, he's a pastor, and we live in Payne County, Oklahoma.
The Red Dirt Riviera.
And we are loving it. We are loving it because it's Lent, and spring has sprung in Stillwater.
Why don't they have a great song about Lent? Like, on the 486th day of Lent, my true love gave to me a sheet of Boston cream pie.
Because we don't give stuff during Lent. We give it up.
Oh, really?
Oh, got him.
This time of Lent, it feels like it's the 467th.
So yeah, so it's we just finished the third week of Lent, and it's getting close. We're now under a month. Easter, friends, is April the 21st.
Nice.
So Palm Sunday, April 14th.
Yeah.
And then Holy Week. So Holy Thursday, the 18th. Good Friday, the 19th. Holy Saturday, the 20th, and Easter Sunday, the 21st.
21 Abril.
It's going to be awesome.
I love.
But no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Let me take down my hood.
Yeah. By the way, so we're sitting here. We record in the studios here at Stillwater Radio. Where is that, on North Perkins? No.
North Perkins. I think that's a good one.
And Father Kerry was sitting here with his hood up. Number one, it's hot in this room.
And guess what?
And then, and he just took his shoes off.
And I have no socks on today.
Can you smell this?
You know why? You know why I'm feeling this mood?
Because it's spring.
No. I just got
want to
back.
frolic in the grass.
I was just on the Ecuador.
Peru? You went to Peru?
I was into Peru. I was on the equator, and I'm feeling a little tropical this week.
You were on the equator. You put your shoes back on. Oh, man.
Luckily, these are slip-ons.
Goodness sakes.
Good gravy.
Well, we're glad you're with us. A major milestone here in Stillwater, and that is we have made it through spring break. Stillwater, if you did not know, is a college town.
Is it?
It's America's friendliest college town.
Is that what they say?
As the advertisements say. Yeah, if you look in like the Stillwater Chamber of Commerce, like brochures and stuff. They call Stillwater America's friendliest college town.
And is the word friendliest like trademark TM at the bottom? Like
I bet that phrase is trademarked.
If it's not, we're stealing it.
That's my guess.
This is America's friendliest podcast.
This is America's friendliest podcast. You better believe it. We are super friendly.
Retweet that.
Retweet.
Okay, so what'd you do over spring break?
So
everything you can do, I can do
both
better.
Father Kerry and I had very momentous, in very different ways, I must say. I did not go very far. I went to Wichita, Kansas.
Whoa.
He went very far to the country of Peru.
Lima, Peru.
So during spring break, I should say this, I'm still a little bit getting used to Stillwater. I have like a rhythm of life, daily and weekly and even monthly. I don't have like a yearly rhythm because this is only my second, kind of going into my second full year. And so I haven't quite figured out, when I was at Bishop Kelly High School, I always took my annual retreat. If you did not know, people of God out there in the world, every priest has to take a spiritual retreat every year.
Yeah, I know.
It's actually required. So, Father Kerry, you took yours back in...
I take mine every December.
Every day.
Brother, don't retreat. You got to advance.
So he took his in December. So I had not been on retreat in 18 months.
What? How does that happen?
Because it just didn't happen. The demands of Stillwater and lack of planning did not allow it to happen. So, over spring break, I was going to go down and visit some friends in Florida. That got blown up because I said my spiritual life needs to come first, and I got to take my retreat. So, I drove up to the Spiritual Life Center in Wichita, Kansas, just a short 2 hours north.
It's nice. It's a good place.
And it was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was a directed retreat. But basically just a silent retreat, just me, the Blessed Sacrament, some books,
Our Lady,
Mary, Joseph, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
Okay, what was? Tell me something that was awesome
Well,
about just to encourage people. Like
Yes.
maybe during the season of Lent, they
Yeah.
need to take like a couple days off.
Yep.
And just like retune. They're like, I'm getting my prayer life back in order. Sometimes you have to stop, collaborate, and listen. Well, Coolidge with the 3. It is like the NCAA
dear.
tournament is in session.
So this retreat, I think the benefit of a retreat is you get some perspective.
Yeah.
So typically what happens to me on a retreat is I go and it takes me a full day to like get in it because I
Agree.
gotta sleep. I'm not used to, frankly, to the quiet. I'm not used to like having an unscheduled
Yeah.
time. So basically every day I had one thing on my schedule, and that was an hour of spiritual direction with the priest in Wichita.
And you can celebrate Mass whenever you want, pray whenever you want.
In the course of that day, I was going to do 2 holy hours. I was going to celebrate Mass. I was going to do some walking and read. And you had
one
order?
scheduled thing, which was on his calendar.
One scheduled thing, which was with the other priest, and everything else was on my calendar, on my schedule. And so that takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
When your day is, typically kind of wall to wall and lots of things going on, that was different. And it takes some getting used to. So day 1 is like, oh, what am I doing here? I don't know what to do. Day 2, 3, and 4 is like, why don't I do this more often?
Yes.
This is so great. Lord, I love you, and I know you love me, and I'm sorry I don't spend more time with you. And, you just like think of great things like homilies and just ideas for the parish, and you're just reading things where you're like, why have I not, read this before?
Retweet.
And then, like day 5, it's like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm ready to go home and see my people. And so, anyway, just wonderful. I think probably that my biggest insight from the retreat, the books that I read, and kind of the theme of of my talking with the spiritual director was making prayer a priority. And that is that the best and most important thing I can do as a priest and as the pastor of St. Francis Xavier, the best thing I can do for me and my people is pray.
Agreed.
And I get into, and I think many priests do, and I may be more guilty of it than others, and that is just activity for the sake of activity.
Yeah.
And so what happens some days, quite honestly, is the activity becomes so, in my mind, important that it overshadows prayer, or prayer kind of gets pushed. And I think this is not just true for priests. This is true of moms and dads and everybody out there.
Would you say you turned into a Pelagian?
A little bit. A little bit. Yeah.
Pelagius.
So one of the books I read it's called The Soul of the Apostolate.
Oh.
And I'm actually still reading it. I purposely didn't finish.
Have I told you I can never get through that book?
I know. I'm gonna
I get
read
like
it to
30
you.
pages in, and it's just crushing.
We should do like they do in monasteries, like when we're eating dinner, and one of us just reads out loud to the other one.
Yeah, I would stab you with a fork.
Some table
with
reading.
a spoon. I'll throw a spoon.
I'll sit far away from you on the other side of the table.
Throw stuff.
Can you pass the salt, and I'll throw it to you. Anyway, Soul of the Apostolate. It actually talks about. It uses the phrase, the heresy of good works.
Ooh.
And I read that and I said, there are days when I am guilty of that. When I let the activity of the priesthood, the doing of the priesthood overtake the being of the priesthood. That if I get in an accident tomorrow and I can not use my legs or my arms and I can't do anything, I am still a priest.
Amen, brother.
And my main priority is the sanctification of my soul and the soul of my people.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I'm a doer, I mean, this is it's like what I do, right? I mean, I move and make things happen and
fix problems.
I give talks and organize events and
Yeah, sure.
And all of it is good, and all of it. I mean, and people would say like, "Wow, look at all the stuff going on at St. Francis Xavier." But then you boil that down and say, okay, what's ultimately most important? And that is a relationship with the Lord in prayer. And so that just came into focus on this retreat, that needs to be more of a priority in my life. And so now I've been back for a couple days, and so far so good.
Yeah, you just got to put it into the rhythm of life. And maybe like have a little soundtrack is like, the rhythm is gonna get you, the rhythm is gonna get you, the rhythm is gonna get you. And you just put it into the rhythm of life and just every day do the same thing.
So every time I pray, I sing that. Please join us in our opening hymn for Mass, number 742. The Rhythm is Gonna Get You by, who's that by?
I think it's like Miami Sound Machine.
Sheila E. or something.
It's like Sheila E. and the Gloria Stefan.
All right, we'll use it at the Spanish Mass. But anyway, a wonderful retreat. I'm very grateful to the Diocese of Wichita for their wonderful retreat center. I'm so glad it's only 2 hours away. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah. So anyway, that was my spring break.
Spring break is awesome. I love
you. Had a little different experience.
Well,
you went to Lima, Peru.
Well, first of all, I got to make a pilgrimage to H-Town, Houston.
So Father Kerry went to my hometown.
My hometown.
The fourth largest city in the United States. Not Stillwater. That's the 10th largest city in Oklahoma. Houston, Texas, the fourth largest city in the United States.
Kingwood.
And to the suburb of my youth.
Uh-huh. And hanging out with the O'Brien.
The livable forest, Kingwood, Texas.
That's what it's called, the livable forest.
Did you see the sign as you came in?
I did. Someone said it, and I only remember it because
we always used to make fun of that sign because it's called the livable forest, but it's made of wood. Is that irony? Is that called irony?
Yeah. I think, well, I just knocked some CDs over here. It was wonderful.
Yeah, why? So you were in Houston because you were flying out of Houston.
Yeah, we were flying out of Houston. So I went in there Thursday. We flew out Thursday morning and then got there Thursday and then did all the preparation and like got everything set up.
How many people went on this trip?
There were 23 people that went on this trip.
So you went down with kind of the leadership group.
Yeah, 18 college students and then focused missionaries and myself.
Got it.
And all OSU students and all students from the St. John Catholic Student Center. We met 3 other colleges down there, actually 5 other colleges down there. It was CSU, Towson from Maryland.
Oh, did you see Tara Lauderdale?
I did not, but I met some of her peeps.
Okay.
And then Cincinnati.
University of Cincinnati?
Yep. University of Cincinnati, Nebraska, Lincoln. Oh, there was another college in there somewhere. And they're going to hate me for not remembering who they are. But anywho, they're not listening to
this. Let us know who you are and that Father Kerry doesn't like you.
So we were doing all the preparation for our OSU group because we had a group all to ourselves to get that. So that when they came in Friday, we prepared them Friday and then Saturday. And then Saturday night, we flew out and landed in Lima, Peru Sunday morning.
And so while you were in Houston, you had a little time to kill.
Yeah.
And my parents, Marty and Peg, who are retired, have lots of time to kill.
Yeah, it was so good.
And they took you in.
They took us in.
So I'm sitting there. I'm not on retreat yet. I was still in Stillwater and gearing up for the weekend. And I'm getting these texts from you,
your sister,
my sister. And it's like worlds colliding.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Father Kerry Wakulich is in my living room. Standing next to my mom and dad.
Yeah.
This is weird.
It was lots of fun. I really just enjoy it. I especially love your mom because she is like me, but 70 years old, 68.
Did we really? We're talking ages?
I don't know. But she's old enough to be my mom too.
My mom's 78.
Oh, your mom's 78. My mom's like 72.
Yeah.
Okay. So
she's like you except shorter and older.
Yeah. And stuff she said, I laughed hysterically.
She's very funny.
Yeah, the stories she would tell about you. Oh, brilliant! You know, my favorite moment is to see all the things that you talk about. Like when you make reference to something, boom, it's there. Like the back
Now
windshield.
you have a visual. Yeah.
Yeah, the back windshield, the shirt from the 1984 Olympics. It says,
Oh, we talked about that.
yeah, the first family of
official family.
official
of the
family of the
1984 Summer
official
Olympics.
soda, official this, official that, official
My
family.
dad made us all T-shirts, and we had to wear them around the
It was
84 LA Olympics.
It was really great. And then, like you mentioned, that your home parish, St. Martha Mary Lazarus Friend of Jesus Catholic Church,
Yes.
has the longest name in all churches. And it is true. So we went there and I saw it. We prayed in the church, and then we went to the fish fry on Friday night.
Ooh.
Where I met, what was that girl's name? Anna Marie? Was that Anna Marie? Oh, Anna Maria?
The daughter, Marianne. So Marianne was my high school classmate.
Yeah, and then her daughter's name is?
I think it's Anne Marie or Anna Maria.
Yeah. It's one
They're
of those.
probably listening right now. Shout out.
Hopefully, I just said their name 9 times. So
I saw them when I was at home over Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and so I just met all sorts of people at your parish, and they were like, "Oh, you're friends with Father O'Brien," and then
They all sound like that because of the humidity.
yes, and it was just nice to be. It was just nice to be in Kingwood, Texas. The legend lives.
Oh, the wood.
Yes, it was
That's amazing.
It was beautiful.
My parents loved it. I talked to them the other day, and they were super excited that you came. And actually, what I thought was really cool is that they, I think it was good for my parents to meet. To see you again. They've seen you before, but then also to meet. Like, I don't know that my parents really know like what Focus is or what Focus missionaries are, and so kind of to get them in touch with that. And then I thought it was cool that you and the missionaries got to be like around my niece and nephew, which was good.
Yeah, it was nice to hang out with them and meet them.
And
Your
my
goddaughter,
sister, and yeah. So anyway, just that whole sort of overlap and
right. So we then
so then you go to Peru.
So we then pull chalks.
What the heck? What did you do?
We
in Peru?
pulled chalks Saturday night, late Saturday night, and fly into Lima. They pick us up at like the middle of the night and take us to this old French convent. Ooh. There was the French, actually it's of the 2 hearts, the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Damien and Molokai, same group. They had pictures of Damien and Molokai all over the place.
Just hearing like our rectory.
Yeah, like our rectory. Okay, so we get there and we're living in this old convent, which is not like
in Lima. Lima is big.
Lima's 9.3 million people.
Get the heck out.
No,
that's more than Stillwater.
So it is. So like right out front of the convent was an old Inca ruins. And they have these all over town. You're like driving through the middle of town and you have to drive around. So we went up to this town of Pamplona. And this is why I encourage people to go on a mission trip at some point. Pilgrimage, mission trip, go on a silent retreat. Some point in time in your life. Because, these are kids that we took from OSU, from St. John, or from all over the country. Mostly Oklahoma and the surrounding, maybe Dallas, Fort Worth, Metroplex, that sort of stuff. So these kids are not hard up for anything. So we begin the next day by going to Pamplona. Now the background of
Spain.
Yeah. The background of Pamplona is that there was that communist group, Golden Dragon. No, that's a Chinese restaurant here. What's it called? Oh. It was a communist group that went through Peru, Shining Path.
Okay.
Yes, a Golden Dragon, Shining Path. And so Shining Path was this communist group in the 80s and I think it was 80s and 90s that was in Peru. And they pushed people out of their villages by starting guerrilla warfare and drove them to Lima. And the city of Lima was like, we don't want you. So people started squatting in the mountains to the south. They started squatting in the mountains to the south. And then the narco stuff started happening in the 90s and 2000s. And
this is
all the drug wars are going on. More people flood to Lima. And where do they go? They go to Pamplona up in the mountains. And so they start building houses up there. They call it a shanty town. So the government doesn't recognize it as part of the city because people are just basically squatting on land and they think people are going to leave. Well, it just begins to grow and to grow and to grow. Well, so the government then says, about 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, if you all build stairs, we'll build electricity to your places. So people started building staircases up the mountains. Now, to build these things, it took...
This is what, out of wood?
No, we built them out of wood frame and then fill them with concrete going up.
Really?
So down low...
Did you write your name in it?
I did not write my name in it, but some students did. So we, down low...
Back in 20 years, be like, guys, this is where... See my name right there?
See? Right there.
Like a little heart.
Yeah, and that's the one when I fell and I landed on my face because I didn't know the cement was not dry yet. So
see
down
my face print in the cement right there?
Down low, really easy. It's like only 10 or 20 feet up to where you want to be.
Oh.
But we were in the back, like in the back of basically of this valley. And so it is 62 flights of stairs up. And we weren't even to the top yet. We were about halfway up the mountain where people lived.
So someone else had built these 62 steps and you were adding to it?
And then we were going over a hill and building up. So we would walk across the mountain.
How long is this taking?
So they've been at it for about 15 years.
Get out.
And so the government said, if you build stairs, we'll build electricity. So there's electricity poles up there, and then people just pull power lines off the electricity. Then they said, if you build yourself a retaining wall, we'll build you a road and get you water. So now there's a Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has been working on, their Catholic Student Center has been working on a retaining wall for 7 years so that a road can be built so then water can be brought up there. Because imagine, like, if you need 10 gallons of water.
It's like it's taking a really long time.
Yeah, it does take a really long time. And the other priest that was there, Father Josh, said, imagine if this was your full-time gig, you could probably get it done in 5 years. But this is all based on volunteers and when these people get off work. So we were doing this. There were 60 of us, and we got built somewhere in the area of about 75 to 100 steps.
In a week.
Goodness
and
we're also hauling buckets, 3-gallon buckets of cement. We're mixing it on the ground. Like you dump bags of powder, you dump sand.
So in the U.S., we think cement, we think big trucks.
Big truck pulls up, and we're making
out
a 7-foot in radius volcano, and like mixing the cement in. You pour water in, you stir it up, and then while all that's going on, you're passing buckets of rocks up to fill the stairs, and then you're passing buckets of water up to pour all over the rocks, and then you pass the cement when it gets mixed up. And so we had this chain of 30-something people going up the hill, and people were just basically throwing buckets of 3-gallon buckets of cement up to each other.
So if you're listening to this and you're an Oklahoma State student, like is this happening next year too?
We're probably going to do it next year too.
Same place?
Yeah, because
I don't want to hold you to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what our hope is. The religious brother who runs it, I went to seminary with a bunch of his dudes, the Christian Life Movement, Solidarity Movement.
Yeah.
And so this is his gig because he just like, how can I help people in this mountain area? And as they're working, they're evangelizing people. They're sharing the good news. They're sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with them. So there's a lot of stuff going on. But even just like basic needs, like you have elderly people walking up the side of mountains, 70 years old, trying to get to their little house. And their house is probably 2 rooms, 10 by 10. So 200 square feet.
Wow.
House. That includes a bathroom, a bedroom, and a small kitchen. And it was,
I'm so glad you went.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Who paid for it?
This Focus paid for mine, but all the students fundraise their own mission trips. They write letters.
I knew that. I was just throwing that out.
Yeah, they write letters to people
who are listening.
And what's really cool is they write letters to folk, and these people, their friends, their family, their dentists, their cousins, their aunts and uncles, will then support them with a certain amount of money, and they ask them to pray for them.
Dentist. I love that you got
that happened one time. A girl wrote a letter to her dentist, and her dentist said, I've always wanted to go on a mission trip.
My family has given you thousands over the years. Please send me $50.
I was looking at my teeth the other day, and I thought,
my dentist probably can help me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was that's
excellent.
And then in the evening, it's not just about work, because that's that.
The heresy of good works.
The heresy of good works. Because it's,
it only took us 25 minutes to make a connection.
Ephesians, well, you have to remember Ephesians 2, 1 through 10. Ephesians 2, 1 through 10
Remind
is
us of what that is.
St. Paul's reminding us that we're made for good works, not works of the law, but we're made by faith, saved by grace. We're made for good works, he says in Ephesians 2, 1 through 10. So it's not just like the heresy of good works is, because that would be contradictory. We're called to serve our brother and sister.
Amen.
That's what the end of the gospel says. What you did to the least of my brethren, you did unto me. Mother Teresa's thing, they called it like the one-handed gospel. You did it to me.
Oh.
And you can count it out on your fingers. And that is the end. That's what the Lord's going to ask us on the day. Whatever you did to the least of my brethren, you did to me. Now, but that doesn't mean that we're all about doing good stuff. Every night it was Eucharistic adoration.
Oh.
It was Mass. It was prayer teams.
English or Spanish?
English. My first Mass there. One priest has 360,000 parishioners. His one church up in the mountains has 360,000 people. So
seems like a lot.
Seems like a lot. That's
I'm counting on my fingers right now. Okay, that's a lot.
That's that's 8 times more than the city of Stillwater lives in shanties. Like 8 times more than the city of Stillwater lives in the ghettos. And that's where we were living.
So you had Mass for your group and for the other groups and for the people too?
Yep, for the people too.
Came?
On Sunday the people came to Mass, and the students were there.
That's wonderful.
It was
so glad you went.
Awesome. I loved every second.
And then from the student perspective, what do you think they got out of it?
They got out of it a lot of encounter with their own brokenness, because they're looking at other people and they're like, wow, I am much better off than the rich here. Like the super rich actually live on the same hill, but there's a 10-foot wall and a 15-foot barbed wire fence that runs along the top of the hill.
Wow.
And
keep everybody else out.
The ultra rich live on one side of the hill, the mega rich and the mega poor live on the opposite side of the hill. And so these kids got it like, you know what?
It's eye-opening.
You can be super rich and still like have a dark soul. So that was an encounter. In
fact, you're probably more likely to.
Yeah. And the other one was they got to, because they're away from school and they're away from social media and they're away from their friends, they got to stop, as the great song says, collaborate and listen. They got to listen to what the Lord Jesus is doing in their hearts. And
he's moving.
Yeah. And he cracked open people's hearts.
Did he crush people?
I wouldn't say crush.
Oh.
He warmed their hearts up, and people, there was some
if
huge...
today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts.
There were some really beautiful...
Psalm.
Yeah. There were some really beautiful conversions.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Praise God.
Praise the good God.
Have you ever been to Peru?
Nope.
Wow.
That's third country on my South American list.
Put that one on the map there.
Yep, it's on the list.
Outstanding. Well, so anyway, momentous spring breaks. Personally, for me, on the retreat side, coming back just rested and ready to take on Easter and Holy Week. And for you and your students, just great. Sounds like a great time, great ministry.
Mm-hmm. I got this beard.
He does have a little beard going, which I'm not a fan of, but I don't want to say that publicly.
Well, I guess that's all for today, young ladies and gentlemen.
So last thing I'll just ask is, would you pray for, I'm taking the weekend of the April 6th and 7th and 8th, I'm taking, at this point it's 11, it might still grow, 11 young women to visit a convent.
Ooh.
We're going to go see the Sisters of St. Francis of the Martyr St. George
in
Alton, Illinois, right outside of St. Louis. We're taking 2 vans from here. We got a group from Stillwater. We're picking up some young women in Tulsa, and then we're making our way. So if you pray for that,
blessed are you among women.
I will be it. I will be the sole
lone
survivor. Man. But anyway, it's going to be awesome. It's a great group, and it's just exciting to see young women open to what God's doing in their life. Maybe calling them to a religious vocation, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's our time. It's Pastors of Payne. We're so glad you joined us.
Such a
Pray
blessing.
for us. We hope your Lent's going well, and may God bless you.
Bless you.